Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Slash, back at it again with another Pokemon Planet Premier League video. This week we'll be covering week 5. So we've got some interesting games lined up. If I sound different from my last video, it's probably just because I have some allergies right now. But other than that, I'm feeling fine. So yeah, just allergies, so a little congested. But other than that, we are perfectly good. It's been a good week. And let's get right into it. So first we have my game versus Peter Fred. I brought a Hyper Offense deck with Mega Charizard X, Scarf Superior, Belly Drum Azu, Quiver Dance Volk, and DD Dragonite, and Sash Lando. And my opponent brought a Sand team. The matchup looks pretty good for me, to be honest. Volcarona is very good here. Super good into Clef and Amoonguss. If Amoonguss spores anything else, then Volk gets to kind of just get a free Quiver Dance versus it. But even unboosted, Volk is very powerful into this team. Because I do have Bug Buzz and Fire Blast, so even if Clef is unaware, it's not a problem. But and yeah, if it is unaware, then the Sand and the Stealth Rocks I get up will also help me out quite a bit here. Belly Drum Azu is very good after Rocks on Zapdos. Mega Charizard X is really good in this team. Zard X can pretty much set up on any non-discharged Zapdos, and it kills pretty much everything after +2. So anyways, let's get right into it. So we got PETA lead T-Tar and I lead Lando, so a very good lead matchup for me. So I go for Stealth Rock right away as he goes Zapdos. I decided to just Rock Tomb the Zap. Basically what I'm trying to do here is, I don't really care if he kills my Lando. I'm trying to just keep my rocks down so that Zardex or Volcarona can start putting some work into his team. And damage on Zapdos is great too for Azu eventually. His Zapdos does reveal Defog, but I can always pretty much make it out of this matchup with rocks down and damage on Zapdos, as long as he doesn't burn me with Heat Wave. So I keep Rock Tombing the Zap over and over. He goes for Defog, and then he gets hit to 52. He goes into Clef, which I'm not really sure why he did. I think, honestly, sticking it out with Zap could have been better. But I can't too much. Not really much he can do against lead landers, to be honest. He doesn't want to switch Mega Alakazam into a Rock Tomb, or Excadrill, really, with it being healthy. So I can't bash his play too much here. Let me turn this down a little bit. Alright. Anyways, I Earthquake the Clef, just get some damage. As he goes for Soft Bullet. As I go to Megazard X. I'm thinking it's not T-Wave on this team. I was thinking it's Moonblast, Soft Bullet, Calm Mind, and something else. But either way, if it was T-Wave, this being a potential Zard Y also scares Clefable out. So that was another reason I kept Zard in against Clef, even if it was T-Wave. Zard Y either forces T-Tar or Zapdos Sack in, which is super good for me. And I actually end up Dragon Dancing. I then Mega Evolve and Dragon Dance again as he goes for Volt Switch. Then Tyranitar comes out. And he doesn't want to leave Tyranitar in. He wants to try and get a static with Zapdos, which is pretty much the best play he could have made. As I go for Earthquake, and then I Roost once, trying to bait a Volt Switch, but I realize after he Roosts, he knows better than to probably Volt Switch right here. So I realize I'm just going to have to stick it out and Flare Blitz the Zapdos and try and just win with Zardex. Luckily for me, he doesn't static. And Zardex just runs through the rest. With a little bit of recoil, obviously, the Clef is down, but I've already killed his main 4. I still have Azu and Dragonite that can easily beat Tyranitar and Excadrill. So, very lucky matchup for me. I think I played it well, though. So, yeah. Not the most interesting game, I know, but I've always tried to feature my own game in these. I know that sounds a little, egotistic or whatever, but I just try and include my game to help me grow as a player more than anything. But yeah, very good matchup for me with Zardex here. Volcarona and Serp didn't even come out. Dragonite only really came out to clean. So, yeah, and the other thing is, if Zardex had gotten static by Zapdos, what is it called? He still would have had to go Kazam and... No, I'm lying. I'm just lying. He would have went Drill. But then Azu forces it out because he would need Drill to win. Or Superior forces it out. Or Dragonite. So, a lot of different ways for me to win that game, to be honest. Yeah, and I think actually what I said about the Clef not being Thunderwave was that I thought it was his rocker. So it'd be Soft Boiled, Moonblast, Calm Mind, and Rocks. So I may have misspoke on that a little earlier, but that's why another reason I kept a Zard in, because if he thinks I'm Zard Y, he switches out. If it's not T-Wave, he switches out. So it's kind of just in my favor to keep Zard in on that clef there. So yeah, hope that makes sense. So next we actually got a pretty cool Little Cup team, and actually I have the pace for this team, so I'm gonna pull it up. All right, so this is the team that Alira here is running. I know him as Kupo. So he's got a screens team with Dragon Dance, Tyrant, and Swords Dance Mienfoo, Belly Drum Magby, and etc. I clearly see the idea with this team is to set up screens and go for a win with Tyrant or Mienfoo or Magby. I think Poniard is mainly there to abuse potential defrogs from Vullaby, stuff like that. Pursuit Trap, Abros that can be a big threat to this. So a pretty cool team overall, I think. Anything else I gotta say? I think Fungus is pretty good here as well, actually, as a sponge. You can spore something and then set up with Magby, Mienfoo, or Tyrant. So, very, very well built Little Cup team, I have to say. So let's get right into it. So Alira leads off with Fungus, as you see that his entire team is weak to spore, which is awesome for him. His Fungus does get knocked, but the Mienfoo gets spored, which I think is pretty big, honestly. Mienfoo isn't bad because it can fake out, and it's pretty bulky with Eviolite. Like, I think Tyrant does kill with Psychic Fangs, but it can come in on Poniard. It can come in maybe on Natu again, actually. Isn't running. Oh my god, I'm congested. Jesus. Psychic type move and force knockoffs and whatnot. So I think sporing Mienfoo is actually super, super good for Alira here. And he immediately goes into Natu, and then Mienfoo burns a sleep turn. Natu gets up Reflect and Light Screen. Natu then goes for U-turn, and Poniard gets burned, but he knocks the Mienfoo, so he does make some progress with that. Whoops. And then Tyrant comes in on Mienfoo, which is a little risky, but with screens and Eviolite, I think this is Eviolite, yeah, definitely lives high jump kick. So, you know, he DDs once, and the Zenmunt does wonders against the Tyrant. So now here we have Onix versus Tyrant. And for some reason, Surtur switches. I guess he was expecting Earthquake. But Alira read the gas switch. So pretty good read there. Then the Onix finally comes out. And it gets Zenbutted again. So I think their Earthquaking was a little bit better. But not the end of the world, obviously. The Fungus gets taunted, so it doesn't get to Spore. And then Alira makes another great read, putting Magic Bounce Natu in versus Onix and getting Rocks on the other side. Then reflects, barely keeps Natu alive, taunts the Onix. I think he forgot how Magic Bounce worked there for a second. And the Rock Blast misses into Mienfoo. Not too big of a miss, honestly, with screens and Eviolite. The Mienfoo Swords Dances and does 74 to Trubbish, and Trubbish fully heals, getting a Gunk Shot off, but it does like nothing. So then we see the Trubbishes recycle. So Alira goes for another Swords Dance, and then this high jump kick finally kills Trubbish. This high jump kick kills Onix, kills Slowpoke, kills Porygon. A very clean win from Alira, a very nice team. Pretty good plays as well. The only thing is, I don't think Surtur should have ever switched out Onix against Tyrant before, but other than that, I think a well-played game from both sides, just out-teched in the builder, I think. So yeah, good game. Next we have Real Sika versus Tabbed Out in Ubers. So I think this is the first time that Zekrom has been seen all tour, and I think Zekrom is a super, super good mon in Ubers. Obviously, it gets checked by Primal Groudon pretty well, but even then, Zekrom is not bad. You know, Bolt Strike is just super good to a lot of the tier, besides Groudon, of course. It's just good, consistent damage. Pharaoh and Cruel there are pretty good as well. So yeah, let's get right into it. I actually don't think I've watched this match. So we have a Dialga versus a Tentacruel lead. So let me just see. Yveltal doesn't look amazing here with Xerneas and Dialga. Tentacruel isn't bad for Xerneas, obviously. It's a bit foddery against Primal Groudon, because as you remember, that the harsh sunlight means that the water moves don't actually work at all. Tab goes straight into Salamence on the Tentacruel, which is fine. He gets up Toxic Spikes, Megas, DDs, and switches right away, fearing a Gyro Ball. I take it. Tab goes for Fire Blast, and Salamence comes back out. Another Dragon Dance and a Double Edge. Double Edge KOing the Tentacruel there, and then Extreme Killer comes out as Tab goes into the Giratina, and Dragon Tail phases out the Ferrothorn. Very nice. And Primal Groudon comes in. He switches it out pretty quickly. Trying to rack up chip on Giratina, I'm guessing. But he gets a pretty lucky Dragon Tail, and the Yveltal comes out. It doesn't look like Yveltal is game ending here, but you never know. It was hard Xerneas. I don't know, I think Dialga was a fine play, but whatever. I mean, losing that power herb definitely sucks. I think he just goes for Moonblast here. He does. He gets the crit on Pharaoh. I'm not sure if that mattered. If it did, very lucky for Tabbed. And the Extreme Speed crits the Xerneas. Don't think it mattered. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these crits did matter. I mean, if it's Sassy Pharaoh, I definitely think that Moonblast crit mattered. I'm not so sure the E-Speed crit mattered, though. So the foul play onto the Dialga, the knockoff, and the Draco comes out. Not killing that Yveltal. It's very tanky Mon. Looks like to be running a defensive set. Tab gets up Rocks, pretty good, and the Dialga dies. Then brings out Primal Groudon. Rock Polishes, but I don't think that was too good there. I think bringing out something like Arceus could have been better instead of Groudon first, because think about it, Groudon has the bulk to withstand Zekrom here, and potentially E-Killer as well. So maybe trying to kill Yveltal without Groudon first maybe would have been better. I don't know. Not an Ubers player. But yeah, I think maybe you could have, yeah, I even said, shouldn't have gone Dawn. I don't think you should have went Groudon. I think maybe if you kill Yveltal somehow with Arceus, and even if you lose Arceus, which would suck, obviously, wouldn't you be in a better position if you brought Salamence out to kill Yveltal after? Yeah. So the Groudon comes out. It takes the Earthquake from E-Killer. And Overheat comes out. I'm not sure why Giratina switched in here, but it is what it is. The Rock Tomb comes out, and then Defog. And the Salamence Roosted. Very good. Shadow Sneak. And then Zekrom's in. And yeah. So yeah, interesting game. It's kind of hard to tell who's winning when there's so many Mons that are the same in the Ubers tier. I do think Tab misplayed a little bit by sacking Groudon there. It's pretty good in all three of these, besides I guess opposing Groudon. Especially if it's Rock Polish too, no? Because Rock Polish and Precipice Blades, all these shits, right? Whatever. I mean, not a bad game at all, though. I'm trying to see what else I may have missed. Some of the Giratina team turns were weird to me. I don't know. I'm not going to overanalyze Ubers. I'm not too experienced with the tier. So, yeah, I just think that the Groudon sack was not great. Whoops. Did I watch this? This is the game I'm watching next, then. Wait a minute. Okay, so this is game 1 of Rice versus Nike, then. So we see Serperior, which is really good into this. Megalopony, which is really good if Zapdos is removed. Either way, it puts pressure on Zapdos. It's not hard if he has rocks with Heatran or Orlando. Clef isn't bad, too. Slowbro is great. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. So, lead Goat Nike, we see. So I bet Rice goes Zap, yeah. Brings out Drill again on the Lando, and the Lando goes for Stone Edge. So, good play by Rice. As he puts rocks up. Leaf Storm comes out from the drill, and Ironhead into that Serp. And goes Latios. And the Draco comes out, doing a hefty amount of damage to Heatran there with that Life Orb boost. And it roosts up. And Zapdos comes out. Doesn't get static. Keldeo comes in on Heatran, probably forces a Scald. Gets no burn on Slowbro. Zapdos comes back, Ice Beams the Zap. And it roosts. And that Heatran there. Latios comes in. Then Keldeo. Holy, a lot of switches here. So Keldeo is forcing progress over and over through Scalding. Heatran's already very chipped. Slowbro's not too chipped, but Slowbro isn't too hard to deal with if you keep rocks off. So yeah. Latios comes out. Doubling again into Slowbro. Slowbro is just getting rinsed, and the Draco missed. This is a very big miss, by the way. Slowbro being removed for Rice makes Medicham able to go in, pretty much. That Lando isn't defensive either, so it's not really hanging on too long. Clef is already chipped at a point where Ice Punch is doing too much, I think. And, of course, it makes it a lot easier for Keldeo to just run through the team. And it gets Thunder Waved. So, very poor turn for Rice there. Then he defogs, and Nike Ice Beams. Clefable comes out, as Latios probably tried to roost. And it does roost. As Nike goes roost. So some people are like, oh, why doesn't he Moonblast? That's a safe play to soft-boiled here. Life Orb Psychic does a lot to Clef. So soft-boiling there is an excellent play, I think. Ice Beam into the drill, get some chip. Superior comes out on Excadrill, sorry. Zapdos comes out. And the Serp Leaf Storms. Misses onto the Zapdos, which is pretty big, honestly. You could have removed Zapdos right there. Because think about it, your next storm does 40, doesn't kill, and then your next storm after that is doing hella. So you'd be like chilling. Either way, it would have been a Mon down. So, would have been nice. And then after the Mon, whatever dies, you're forcing Megacham or Weavile in. So, you can play around that, which is nice. Landorus comes out. U-turns on Zapdos. And the Serp comes out. And it roosts. And this is Lando comes. And crit. Toxics the Bro to finally make some progress. Ice Beams the Zap. No freeze or anything. Finally gets rid of Zapdos. So now it looks like Lopunny can start putting in some work here. But, when Weavile comes out, he at least switches out Lopunny. Or, sorry, wait. He goes Lopunny and then Keldeo and doubles. That, okay, I was going to say. That makes no sense. So, anyways. Weavile comes out. I think Slowbro just Scalds here or Thunder Waves. One of the two. Frustrations versus Weavile. Heatran dies. If he had gone Clef there, obviously, yeah, it would have been better. I think Scalding was always better there for Rice. Not too sure why he secreted. Maybe Scald doesn't kill Lopunny or something. I don't know. Yeah, Scalding there was definitely always better. In case of Clef on the Heatran, so yeah. Excadrill comes out. And Nike makes the double. Gets that high jump kick, but it misses. This is a pretty big miss. Because now he's in fake out range, so he does have to switch out. Landorus comes out and gets fake outed. Latios comes out after, does that Earthquake. Paralyze. Paralyze again versus Lopunny. Frustration. From here, so here, let me go back a little bit. So this turn where Latios, sorry, Mega Lopunny kills Latios right here. Sorry, and Keldeo comes out. I want to see if Lopunny had a chance of killing Keldeo. If not, here, let's do damage calc. Here, we'll go to SM. So Lopunny. Maybe the Keldeo's Scarf and I'm like slow or something. I guess we can calculate damage to see. Because maybe I wasn't watching close enough. So Secret did what? Skull did only 80 to 20 to Slowbro. So then that was probably Scarf Keldeo that. No, never mind. Okay, it makes perfect sense then why Nike switches out. But then doesn't that also mean that his heat ran play earlier was a throw and a half? Because if it's Scarf, what is it doing to Clef, you know? Yeah, interesting. And then here, Rice just ice punches until extra drill comes in. So, well played by Rice. Yeah, very well played. I'm trying to think. I think, uh, what is it called? I forgot what I was gonna say. I feel like Nike totally should have won this with Lopunny. That fucking high jump kick definitely sucks, because now you have to switch out of Mega Jam every time. But I don't know. I feel like Nike had such a good matchup too. That Leaf Storm miss was mighty unfortunate on Zapdos too. So an unfortunate game for Nike too. Can't even lie. And we have Clash versus Taka. And so we got a hold up. We got a Jellicent on this team. I don't know what the hell that's for, but it's wavy as fuck. Florges on both teams, both fat asses running Florges and Mega Aggron. But yeah, I think Taka has a really good matchup with Nidoking here. Nidoking is very good against Aggron and Florges, the core. It also beats Gligar with Ice Beam. Gyarados doesn't like switching into it either. Mian Xiao doesn't like switching it in. So once Nidoking is in, there's a lot of plays that have to be made. So Crobat comes out, Mian Xiao comes out, and I think immediately we just Brave Bird a U-turn. So you get momentum here. And Hydreigon comes out. Get that U-turn. And the Nidoking comes in. Nidoking goes for rocks, which is very good. The Dark Pulse versus Gyarados, fishing for flinch a little bit. Goes in the Aggron. The Aggron reveals curse. Sorry. And Gyarados is kind of unable to do anything against this Aggron, which is pretty cool. The Gyarados goes for flinches, but it doesn't get it. Oops. Let's go back. So yeah, Gyarados wins. Then Mian Xiao comes out trying to kill that Aggron, but Taka's got Crobat on back. You can keep Aggron kind of as a sack since at 5%. Gets some momentum with U-turn and brings in Jellicent. He taunts the Roserade, which is awesome. Goes back into Crobat. Puts those rocks up. He scalds the Roserade. Sleep Powder doesn't affect the Crobat thanks to safety goggles, which is awesome. Really cool tech by Taka right there. This basically just walls Roserade now. There's no threat. It's impossible for Clash to make progress against this Crobat pretty much. Mian Xiao is scared of it. It U-turns out of Aggron every time and just goes into Jellicent. Roserade has to keep taking Scalds for the rest of the team, and yeah. It's pretty much a done game at this point, I feel like. We can keep watching. But I'm pretty sure, yes, the Jellicent gets Toxic. He Scald and Toxic his Florges. Florges goes for Wish, yada yada yada. There's nothing this Roserade can do that the Crobat even cares about. There's nothing the Gligar can do that the Crobat cares about. And Aggron can rest on his Aggron, which is awesome. So yeah, while Clash can attempt to make progress here, the Jellicent and the Crobat just seem to be too much to him. So yeah, obviously you can't risk the Crobat at crazy turns, but eventually you get Nidoking in, like I said earlier, and you kind of just win the game. Yeah, there's nothing that Clash really could have done here, I don't think. Taka played this very well as well. Very good game overall. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I forgot to say. Not really. I mean, just the Crobat being safety goggles by itself is really good because the Mian Xiao being choice locked also. You could scout with the aggron that isn't even that good into the rest of the team, and then just go from there. If he locks in a high jump kick, you get Crobat in, and you get your own momentum, and you force progress. He's not going to knock off, right? If he does, then it does nothing to aggron. So you just chill. So yeah, very good game by Taka. It's really cool to see an unorthodox item worked very well in a specific matchup. Uh, you can say that Taka definitely prepped super well for Clash here. So yeah. Next we got Shades versus Petzold. Cool team by Shades. Can't even lie. Mega Aggron, Sylveon core right here. So yeah, both teams have it. Gyarados looks very good into Pets' team, but we'll see what happens. Roserade gets Spikes up versus Gligar. Gligar gets Rocks up. The Roserade Leaf Storms the Gligar, and the Gligar goes for U-turn. I'm not sure what this was here, honestly, because the Gligar is kind of needed to check Cobalion, and now having it at 25, it's no longer going to be able to do that. Slowking is now your best bet, which, you know, it can be flinched. It still takes a ton of damage. I know that you can say the same for Gligar, but Gligar actually poses the threat back other than just Scalding. So, plus Slowking is overwhelmed because now it has to deal with this Roserade as well too. Um, so yeah, not great to get Gligar chipped there. Heracross gets burned, and Gyarados comes out, interestingly enough. Knockoff comes out, and I think the Heracross just gets to go for Facade or Close Combat, which it does. And the Roserade comes back in. Synthesis is up versus Sylveon. Hidden Power Ices, gets some more spikes. So while Shades isn't able to damage this Sylveon because he doesn't have Sludge Wave or Sludge Bomb or whatever the fuck it gets, Spikes is super, super good right here. It's pressuring Slowking more. Heracross is already on a timer plus Spikes. And I don't think he has Defog on that Gligar, so... Mega Aggron comes out, and Heavy Slam, I think, kills Gligar. It does. Stealth Rock comes up, and the burn on Aggron, that's fine. You don't really need Aggron too much. It was pretty much there to just, like, check some shit. The Sylveon is bold, I think, so I don't think this switch really did anything. So that was also that. Cobalion comes in on Aggron, and it rests. Swords Dance versus Cobalion on Slowking. Slowking does have Fire Blast, so he does need to switch out. That being said, Sylveon plus Cresselia probably eventually deal with Slowking. So yeah. Sylveon is trying to protect. There's nothing really Pets can do. Just roaring over and over with Spikes. And Spikes and Rocks is too much for Regenerator as well. So Slowking is taking damage too. And the Cresselia actually gets burned. So he can't even Toxicate if he had anything with Toxic. I'm guessing he didn't, but yeah. Like I said, Cress can deal with the Slowking eventually. Latias comes out on the Roserade. Doesn't matter though, Cresselia hard stomps. So yeah. And then you just keep roaring. Slowking eventually gets in range, and it dies. Sylveon dies. Latias doesn't even like it. It dies. And then Cobalion can freely SD on this shit. Very clean win by Shades. Excellent matchup. Yeah, I mean, the Gligar sack was just really bad. And taking that damage at the beginning was also really bad. So, Shades definitely took advantage of a misplay from his opponent, which was very good for him. So yeah, well done, Shades. I just watched this. Another UU game. I wanted to highlight this one. Because there's an interesting 50-50 at the end. So Sylveon comes out versus Azelf. Azelf puts Rocks up. As Sylveon goes for Hyper Voice, it crits. Doesn't really matter. I think that was coming down to Sash no matter what. And it booms on Crocodile. So already Durable has Chip into Crocodile and Rocks up, which is pretty good. Crawdaunt comes out. and it comes in on Crocodile's Earthquake. Not sure why he went Absol there, to be honest, but he did. Infernape comes out, and the Swampert comes out on the Infernape. Vacuum Wave is revealed, and Grass Knot solos it. Scald comes out on that Laddie. Very cool for him. He tricks the Crocodile and receives a Choice Band. Knocks the Cobalion. Gets rid of that Shuka Berry, baby. Scalds the Cobalion. Doesn't do too much damage, but it is forced out anyways. Because it was in range of another one, and I don't think it had a move to kill. Crocodile comes back on that Laddie. Oops, sorry. Draco comes onto Sylveon, and not good. Ironhead comes out on Sylveon. Does not flinch. Sylveon KOs. Infernape comes out. Flamethrowers the Sylveon. Grass Knots the Tentacruel. Doesn't kill. Scald burns the Crawdaunt, and we all think, oh, the game's over. But the Crawdaunt reveals Dragon Dance. Mimir then Acid Sprays the Crawdaunt, gets a little bit more chip into it. And at this point, we still don't know if it's Life Orb or not. Except now, we do. So now, this is where the interesting 50-50 comes out. So, he goes Aerodactyl here. If Crawdaunt Aqua-Jets, and Mimir goes Celebi, then Mimir wins, right? Because the Crawdaunt is burned, and then it takes Life Orb. And doesn't kill the Celebi in one turn. So this Crawdaunt would be at, like, what, 14? And Celebi would still be alive. If the Crawdaunt knocks off into Celebi, Rebel wins. If the Crawdaunt knock off into Aerodactyl, he loses. So, very 50-50 play. And Rebel gets the 50-50 correct. Knockoffs to Celebi. And Aqua Jets. So, very, very good 50-50 by him to win that. And, yeah, other than the Absol sack, pretty decently played game by both players. Mimir was right to fish for that Scald. So when he said my bad, I don't know. That was the only thing he could have done. I mean, yeah. Very well played by both of these guys here. 50-50 at the end, and came down to, honestly. Maybe spinning with Tentacruel, I don't know. I don't think that mattered too much, though. Other than that, very well played game. Very good week, actually. And I'll see you guys in the playoffs. Bye-bye.